You know, it's just the soils, the temperature, the climate. It's just it's got some really, really rich soils.
Yes.
It adds a little more darker side of the fruit, but yet a little of the red side as well. So
That'll be the last white, then I'm going to try the red.
all right, I want to get you guys that ozone wine I told you about. There you go. This is a stainless steel fermented Chardonnay from Reynolds Family.
Things have changed so much, I think, since the first time I made wine or when I started getting into the business. Life was very naive. I think it's like doctoring or anything else in life. You know,
which one you want to try? Thank you for supporting us.
the more you know, the less you really do know. There's definitely no holding back Mother Nature, you know. You can't do much about it. You know, I tell my family all the time that you just can't expect me to be around, and I want to. You want to be able to help and do other things because you got to do what you got to do. And the grapes need to come in. They need to come in.
So when I was a little kid, we used to love going to the winery because it was this huge, almost factory-style winery with big production lines, and you know, kids always love automation and seeing bottling lines, and they even had their own glass plant. They still do. We thought it was great. We thought it was just this amazing, fun factory to go see what was happening.
I feel blessed to have made, you know, at this point, gosh, I don't know, maybe 16 vintages here or so. And each one of them I've learned from other winemakers. Mother Nature's taught me something different. So next time I arrive at something that looks like this, I'll be a little more prepared. Should have added nutrients. We should have thinned back. We should have left leaves. We should have watered more. We should have anticipated this because this looks a lot like that. And that's really it. What I've found over the years is I think it's just trial and error. There's no right or wrong.
Memories and experiences, I think of that in terms of images in our minds. I hear winemakers talk about, you know, it's a time capsule in the sense that in this year we had certain conditions and growing conditions and during the harvest and during the season, and where for consumers I think it's more about the experience and the enjoyment.
Cheers.
Talking with my dad, that his point of view was already gearing towards making something of quality. It wasn't just making wine for the masses and bulk production. He liked working with, for the first time, varietal wines, where, you know, in 1968 they were taking an active role in the farming as well, not just what happened in the winery, but actually looking at it as a sort of holistic thing from the earth all the way till the corks are in. And then in the 70s, you had the big event where Chateau Montelena and Stag's Leap Winery won the Paris tasting. That really kind of led people to believe that we could be taken serious as winemakers, not just only the French. So it also opened it up worldwide.
And it's also a richness, I think, of the wine business is it's in every continent, it's everywhere in the world, and yet it's always different. And that's where you find the complexity of Napa Valley, because you can travel, you know, 150, 200 yards and find a different soil and find different exposure, which will make a different wine.
And I think that the fun part of it is like a lot of consumers are getting excited about this notion there. The notion of, like we say, of terroir. It's the diversity, the different soil types that we can get here. So it's a small valley, as we know. It's always important to realize that the successful valley, wine valley, are always on a small scale.
Unfortunately, like every business, you start off with such limited funds and this big dream underfunded. It's been an interesting ride for me because I always end up getting something good that gets thrown across the bow right when you're at your most depressed moment. You know, your wines are slow or the economy's terrible, and all of a sudden something pops up. It's sort of like somebody upstairs is trying to throw you a bone to keep going. I am definitely taking you in the long way, but so it's kind of a hit and miss. This is a very, very kind of upcoming area, and you'll sort of see a lot of the horse farms are going away and becoming more of this. About 2 years ago, a gentleman from Texas named Mike Martin contacted me, and he wanted to get in the wine business. And I had known him from wine dinners before. I literally almost tried to talk him out of it because it's such a tough business. Already right now, if you were to buy a piece of property and try to get it through permitting with planting grapes, getting a winery permit, and get your first label out onto a shelf, it's at least, I would guess, about a 7 to 8 year process. And take a look at this. You don't get the sense of it until you pull up here. And as you look at that. Oh, I know.
Well, that's it right there. Oh my. You know, in the beginning, it was very exciting. The whole concept of the project, and a lot of planning and discussion and figuring out what we wanted. You know, we found a property that we thought was great, but there were challenges and obstacles. So we had actually 3 properties under contract. So it was discouraging, and really I wasn't sure that it was ever going to happen, and almost walked away.
Fortunate is down below is the wine facility is fully functional. So making wine down below has no drawbacks whatsoever. It's once we make it and it hits barrel, that's a little bit of an issue right now.
I want to be busy. It's the way I'm wired, and I know I get it from my father and from my grandfather too. It's just the way I am. And so the venture into the wine industry, it has evolved into more than I ever imagined that it would. But you know, now we're going down this path.